Hey folks, JD here, and today we've got this. This is the SJRC Z5 GPS folding quadcopter. Right then, let's open this up. So over the years, we've seen quite a few SJRC quadcopters. They're usually quite large, usually quite loud, and honestly, I think they're pretty good. I've had quite a lot of success with the S20, the S30 and the S70. Now, and it was not so long ago that we took out the S30 again and gave that a good little revisit. Now today, what we have is the Z5. So the Z5 is them adding something different and adding something a bit new to their product lineup. So what they are doing is they've added, well, suppose you can call it a rectangular quadcopter. It is extremely rectangular, it's a folding quad. I think it looks quite nice, but let's have a little look at this a little bit more in depth and see exactly what we have. So right at the front, we have this, our little camera. Nice little lens at the front. It is motorised. Just above that, we have the Z5 logo right above there. That is just etched onto the plastic. Now, this particular camera is a 1080p standard resolution, records at 25 frames a second. Its video format is MP4. And you can see your FPV from this using the SJRC Pro app, which you can get on Android as well as iOS. And we'll be having a little look at that a little while later as well. So, what we're going to be looking at next. So, here we have it. Here is the quadcopter. It's something new they're adding to their lineup. It looks quite nice. I think it actually is quite striking. It is a rectangular quadcopter, rectangular in shape. It looks quite nice. Now, if we have a little look at the front of it, we have a motorised camera at the front here with different angles. This particular camera is a 1080p camera. It records at standard 1080p resolution, which is 1920 by 1080. That records at a 25 frames a second. Also, the video format comes out as MP4. Now, you can see your FPV uplink via the SJRC Pro app available on Google Play as well as iOS. Now, just above the camera, we have the Z5 logo, looks quite nice. And then as we work our way towards the back of the quad, we have this on and off button here as well as battery LEDs. Now, as I say, this quadcopter is folding. And which way is it? It is back first. And then the front ones, as long as the propellers aren't in the way, should fold out quite easily. So once again, let's just repeat that motion. So back first, and then once they're locked in place, the front ones come forward till you get your very standard looking quadcopter shape. Now these arms don't lock in place. As you open them, they quite literally just spring into place like that. And that's when you know that you've locked it. Now, that being said, it's going to take a hell of a bang in order for these to move back because they are really locked in place. And if you try and move this quite a lot, you can see that the actual arm holding onto the propeller arm here, the actual socket, is actually really, really bending as I'm pushing this. So that's a lot of strength being held open there. And I think they should actually be pretty solid and pretty stable. Now, as we were looking at this particular battery, let's take it out the quadcopter. Now, in order to take it out, you've got two little push pins either side. Squeeze them and pull, and the battery is removed. This is a 7.4 volt, 1200 milliamp hour battery, 14 minutes of battery life, flight time, a charging time of 110 minutes as well. Now, that's not too bad. You charge it via the micro USB port at the side here. Just plug your micro USB cable inside there, and it should just start to charge. Let's pop that back in. Just clips in quite easy, nice and safe. Then towards the back of the quadcopter, we have a lot like the front. We have this nice sort of domed affair here with SJRC etched in the back. On the underside, as this is a GPS model, it doesn't look as if there's an optical flow camera there, but having a look at the non-GPS copter, there is a optical flow camera, but I can't really see, but it doesn't look as if there is an optical flow sensor there. It looks like it's just a little plug. Now, you do have a micro SD card writer in the side right here. Make sure you pop that in so you can get some raw footage. If you record directly onto the camera, it records at 1080. If you record onto your phone via the app, it records at 720. Now, the SD cards they recommend are up to a size of 32 gig, and quite obviously for a fast write speed, you're best off going for class 10. That's the quadcopter. It looks quite nice. Now, what's your flying weight? So we have our battery installed in here, we have everything set up, and our flying weight is 245 grams, so just under, a smidge under, 5 grams under that 250 gram limit. Now that's okay, that's not too bad, and I do believe there's nowhere mentioned about what motors are inside here, so I believe at this particular time they are brushed, but we will soon see when we take this up. All in all, a couple of other things to mention about this. There are some GPS features like follow me, active track, waypoints, hand gestures, return to home, and geofencing. Now we've seen the geofencing work with the S30, we know that works really well, as well as the S70. I'm hoping it's going to work as well on this. Now, one final thing before we move on to the transmitter. The overall production of this feels okay. It does feel really thin plastic. I think if this was to fall from quite a height and land on the floor, I don't think it would be able to survive. I think it would smash. Now, that doesn't put me off from flying it. I think it's going to be very solid when it flies. We've seen SJRC quads being really good in the past. I think this is also going to be good. But if you are going to fly it not on grass, I do believe this might sustain some damage should it fall directly onto the floor. Now, that being said, I may be proved wrong with that, but in all fairness, from the way it feels, I don't think I will be. Okay, so that's the quadcopter. Let's now move on to the transmitter. Now this transmitter is quite DJI-esque, as we've come to see with quite a few other quadcopters in the past. Let's start off with these antennas. Now I think these antennas look like they might be real because they're really nicely made. One way to find out, if we flip these down at the back, we should be able to see if there's any cables inside these antennas here. And no, there's not. Nothing at all. These antennas are fake, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to leave those closed as the actual antennas are going to be internal to this unit. Now, as for buttons, what do we have? Well, we have headless mode over the left. We have 1 key takeoff, 1 key landing over the right. We also have headless mode, return to home, on the bottom left. We have our on button on the bottom right. We have our standard set here of LEDs with our little notices under there. Some things for recording photo, initiate and return to home, speed mode, as well as recording video as well, all under there, with a nice little SJRC badge in the centre. Your FPV boom just flicks up. That's quite nice. That feels really solid and just clips back down. Now, as for a nicer feel to this transmitter, you pull down the 2 little blocks either side and you have a nice looking transmitter and a nice holding transmitter when these 2 parts are actually pushed into your palm rests, and it actually feels quite nice, and you can just clip them back in should you want to. You can fly like that as well, but it feels a bit more blocky like this, doesn't feel as nice. Micro USB port in the side, as this transmitter does allow charging, and that's how you use it. So this transmitter has got 50 minutes charge. It has a 10-hour operation once fully charged. It has a max range of 600 meters and the quadcopter has a max height of 400 foot. Now, I would say when it has a max control range of 600 meters, that is going to be a lot further than I can actually see as pure line of sight. So that's a little bit too extreme, but it is good that it has a long range. Whether it is actually 600 meters, well, we'll have to wait until we take her out and actually test her and see exactly how well she does. Now, there is a couple of other things about this. It feels quite nice. It really does feel nice and thick. You've got some LEDs to the top here as well. It all in all comes together, this does, for a really nice little package, and it feels really quite nice. Now, one thing I would say about this is, even though the analog sticks feel quite nice, I wouldn't be too heavy with them. They don't unscrew either. I wouldn't be too heavy with them, as they do feel as if they are quite rubberized on the inside. I might be wrong with that. It's just exactly the impression I'm getting just from using them here. Okay, so that is the transmitter. Perfect. Let's put that to one side as well. Now we have a couple of accessory bags with this. We have one which is a blade box, which is where your spare propellers are, as well as you get a little screwdriver in there as well and some screws. That's quite nice. And it shows you how to assemble them and what propellers are on what propeller arms on the back here, so you can see B and A, so you know exactly which ones you're replacing. You have your manual, standard SJRC booklet, which opens out, then you have your mini manual inside there. This is multilingual rather, and inside here it tells you exactly how to operate your quadcopter, what the waypoint flight does, take off an emergency stop, the follow me mode, active track, headless mode, load hand gestures, and loads of other things as well. As well as you get your QR codes here for Google Play and iOS. That's how you get your application. Once you scan those with the QR reader, then it'll go directly into your store and you then will have the option to download the application. It even goes into actually a little bit about the app. That's pretty cool. One key share functions, flight specifications, and I'm very wrong that it is multilingual. It is not. It is purely English. That's quite cool. So all of this is quite a lot of information for one manual. Have a quick read if you've got the opportunity. I recommend that you do. And in the final bag here we have the micro USB cable, which is going to charge the transmitter as well as the battery. Now it does say on the back of the transmitter that the charge must only be using the factory USB cable, so the one that comes with it. So there we go. So that's that. So all in all, we get quite a nice little package here. We have the transmitter, we have the folding quad, we have our spare blades, our micro USB cable, as well as we have our manual there as well. All in all, not bad for the price, which comes in. This cost me $79.99. I think that's actually pretty good. Now, if she flies well, now this could be a really excellent package. But in order for that, my friends, we're going to have to wait until we take this out to fly. So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD. You've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.